At the end of August 2022, we left cold Canberra for sunny Queensland to start our new adventure. We literally bought our property online, only ever doing video walkthroughs. We sure took a risk. It's crazy to think how we have taken our doll's house and made it into a home. Well, almost. In today's video, I'm going to take you through everything that we have achieved in our first year, including some of the challenges we faced and still do. So I guess the biggest challenge we are facing is that we both work full-time. Sven works from home in the IT industry and I am a primary school teacher. At the end of our work days, we are absolutely exhausted. Both jobs are demanding in their own way and energy sapping. Some days we literally have to force ourselves to go outside. We ended up buying a small whiteboard to write down some of our jobs, but now this board is becoming way too small. We have two gorgeous cats, Zoom and Blue. So one of our first big jobs was to get the catio cleaned up and renovated so that they could have an outdoor space. They have to stay contained, and in particular where we stay, due to livestock around us. Oh, easy as that.
That was easy.
Cool. This was a pretty big project for me, considering I had never revamped anything before. The boys absolutely love their outdoor space, and it's safe, which is the main thing. One of our first challenges was the vast empty space. We thought this property would be a great blank canvas, but with so much space, we hit a creativity block. It took a long time to plant the first tree, set up garden beds, and our raised vegetable garden. Things take time to grow, so even though we have set up a few garden spaces, it's hard to see the big long-term picture sometimes. So year 2 is all about the garden. We are looking at creating more garden spaces, not just vegetables, and have already started work on that. So do stick around for the updates that are coming. Mowing has become an endless chore. It takes up to 3 days to mow the whole property, and in summer, by the time you are done, it is almost time to start again. We have got a ride-on mower, but it's not a zero turn, so it's not as fast as we would have liked. It gets the job done, but it's something we will have to look at in the future. So another problem we face is our soil. It is absolutely rock hard when dry, and then it is completely clay-like when wet. So one of the ways that we are combating this is getting some soil delivered from the local landscaper. But even this isn't that great. We are still finding that we are needing to add a whole bunch of extra nutrients to the soil, including things like compost, manure, and worm castings. This is also why we are growing all our veggies at the moment in raised garden beds. So something we've recently purchased is actually a worm cafe to help break down all our kitchen scraps and turn it into wonderful compost for our garden. The next big challenge we hit was our drainage problems. We knew there were some issues, but it was not until our first big storm that we realized the problem was a lot bigger than we were led to believe. Oh my goodness, you can see where it's caved in. Okay, one half is out. This is what's left behind, and I'm not surprised that the drain's not working very well when the pipe is blocked full of mud. We tried to tackle this one ourselves, but with no equipment or the means to borrow and the lack of time due to work, we had to call in some experts to help get the job done before the next rainy season. So we have not really been able to test out our drainage system thoroughly, as we are actually in a bit of a drought at the moment, and I'm sure you can tell by the really brown grass behind me. But what they have done is they've gone and put slotted pipes connecting a bunch of stormwater pits together. So in the front it goes straight out to the swale in the stormwater drain, and in the back we're actually collecting into 3 different pits. There's one. It goes all the way down. There's one over there, and then there's this really big one. Inside here we've got a sump pump, so when the water gets to a certain level it kicks in, but we can pull this lever to manually release the water. The garden is still recovering, and we still need to finish the job with some topsoil. We have recently had it delivered, and now the hard work begins. So another huge project that I decided to undertake before going back to work was to work on our existing chicken coop. Now this was here when we already arrived, but it was completely overgrown and neglected, just like the catio. And yeah, I got to work straight away. I spent many days cleaning and clearing out the chicken run. I found some deck stain and gave it a good refresh. We started repairs on the fence, and then the rain hit. Our entire run flooded. It was then that we realized that the coop was not in a good spot. As you can see, the chicken coop is still standing. So something we do plan on for year 2 is to actually tear down this old chicken coop. It's completely run down. There are parts of it that are rotten, and as you've just seen, it's not in the best place. So we are looking at moving it, but also potentially rebuilding. We will be hopefully using some of the materials in here, whether it'll be for the chicken coop or other projects. So if anyone has got any great ideas or designs or videos we can go and watch on how to build our own chicken coop, we really are only looking at housing 3 hens and then obviously giving them quite a big run. So another challenge that we faced, and actually still do, is the fact that council do not collect our garden waste. So what most people tend to do in this area is just burn it off. So what we ended up doing was creating a designated burn pile for exactly this reason. So as you can tell, it has completely filled up again, and so has the area that we had actually cleaned up quite a bit of. So one of my current concerns is snakes. So snake season's upon us, and we unfortunately get those horrible eastern brown snakes that are extremely dangerous. Luckily have not seen any, but I really don't want to, so we really got to get this cleaned up. The only thing is, at the moment we don't have a reliable water source down here, and as you've just seen, it can be super dangerous. So we are in the process of discussing and figuring out what we can do to make sure we are doing it in a safe manner and having that water just in case. We're also in a drought at the moment, so there is a total fire ban, and you just need to take a look at the grass and listen to it crunching and see just how dry we are. When we first moved in, we drank our tank water. It was so delicious, but unfortunately it made us sick. We started buying drinking water each week just to get by. It became such a habit that it took us almost a year just to get filters installed.
So when we first moved in, we didn't have any filtration on our water. So we've got these two 22,000 litre tanks, and that was just feeding directly into the pump and into the house. We did get a little bit sick from that, so we decided to get a water filtration system. So that's this over here. So from the pump, the water runs into the filter. We've got these two 20-inch sediment filters. I think it's a 10 micron and a 1 micron filter. So that filters out all the sediment and things like larger bacteria. The water runs through that, and once it goes through the 1 micron filter, it then goes through, you can't really see it, but inside here there's a UV bulb, and the water runs through that to kill anything else like viruses, cysts, things like that.
So we knew from the very beginning that we wanted bees. Honey was never the priority, but rather pollination. Good morning. Right, so today we are at our hive, and I'm going to be doing my first solo hive inspection. A bit scary but exciting at the same time. So we just have a standard 10 frame because this is a fairly young hive. Wow.
They've been active.
They've been very active. So you can see there's lots of capped brood, which is excellent. There's some grubs. There are a few grubs down here. So things have been going extremely well that we have now moved up to a second brood box and a honey super. We don't have fancy honey extractors, so I've been harvesting the old manual way. So far in our first year, we have managed to harvest roughly 15 kgs. It is such a rewarding and amazing experience. Our vegetable garden is coming along slowly, and each time we harvest our own homegrown produce, I feel awfully proud. We are still in the experimental phase of figuring out this homesteading journey that our efforts are small scale for now, given the size of our land. We have just over 1.5 acres, 7,000 square meters, so the potential is definitely there. Behind the scenes, I have been experimenting with some water bath canning. This is a first for me, so that's why I have not shown any of it on YouTube just yet. I'm still learning, but I'm very excited to announce that I have already made some onion jam, some strawberry jam, and some zucchini relish. In the last couple of months, I've also tackled some sourdough bread. It's still a bit of a learning curve for me, but so far I'm really enjoying the process. Something else I have been learning how to make is homemade pasta. I cannot believe how easy it is and how delicious it is. Another challenge that we have had that has been rather trying has been trying to grow some fruit trees. So I think our biggest mistake we made was the way we planted them initially. We did not dig deep enough holes, and our trees have started to get a little stunted. We also had very heavy rain not long after planting the trees, and sadly we lost our fig tree. Our mulberry tree took a serious knock and almost died. I actually repotted it to try and help it recover, and I must say it is doing a whole lot better. I had been staring at what felt like months at a brown stick. Hey guys, we're in our little mini orchard that we had started pretty much as soon as we moved in, and I was so excited to get this dwarf banana plant But after seeing a few other people's bananas growing, we sort of realized that even though ours is a dwarf, it's definitely stunted. I mean, this has been in the ground for easily 2 to 3 months already, and it's honestly, it's maybe growing that much. So we thought, let's dig the hole deeper, add in some good soil and some compost and what have you, and just see if that helps. But while we were doing that, I was actually disgusted and horrified to see just exactly what is going on. And as you can see, not all our roots are very well formed, and well, that would be because I have probably pulled out a good 50 lawn bugs, not even joking. Let's take a closer look. So these are the same things that ate my sweet potatoes, and we have pulled out so many. Sven made an interesting comment how we keep blaming the soil, which, yes, of course, clay soil is not ideal to grow in, but my biggest concern now are these lawn bugs. After discovering the lawn grub problem, we decided to dig up all of our fruit trees and have a look. We made the holes bigger and added in more nutrients. We found a ton more grubs. It was absolutely unbelievable. So let's take a quick look at what our fruit trees look like today. So this is the mulberry tree, still in its large pot. Continues to get more growth, but sadly no fruit. I'm actually quite okay with that because it is still a very young tree, and I don't want it to put all its energy into producing fruit when it's still actually trying to grow. Now, the fruit trees that we dug up they're okay. Some are in serious shock, like the 2 pawpaw trees, but the banana is doing exceptionally well. So as you can see, the banana has absolutely started to flourish, and it has got 2 new pups or suckers. I'm very happy at how this banana tree has clearly recovered. The lemon tree is not doing too badly. It actually has some fruit on the way. So my orange tree is extremely green, and I've recently given it some fertilizer, so we'll just see what happens, but it doesn't seem to even have any flowers on this spring. We have made some additions to our fruit trees. So I was very generously gifted another banana tree and your more standard very tall one. From memory, I think the lady said these were Cavendish bananas, which is actually awesome because it's the same as the dwarf tree that I have. And then we have a pomegranate, and I've kept it in a pot because it's still fairly young. And we have our first flower. Also been gifted a pineapple, which needs to still be repotted.
So we had 16 solar panels installed. We got the 390 watt Hyundai panels, and then that goes into our inverter, which is a good wee 5 kilowatt inverter. Unfortunately, because of the layout of the house, we had to have the inverter facing north the same way as the panels, so that's going to get quite hot. So what we did is we've made a perspex cover for it, just so that when the sun shines on it, it gets reflected off and, you know, protects it from the UV. So we are grid connected, so we haven't gone with the battery option. We also don't actually have space really anywhere to put the batteries, but the batteries on its own was more than the cost of the panels and the inverter, and the payback period for that would just be too many years, probably looking at about 10 years to pay that back. At the moment it probably costs us somewhere about $2 to $5 a month in energy bills after we've had the solar, and I think we've had it for about 10 months now. So at the moment the solar panels are generating about $90 a month from power that we're generating, and that offsets the electricity bill, so that's quite good. And then the government is also at the moment giving out a cost of living rebate, which is $137 a quarter. So with those two together, we're actually not paying electricity bill at the moment. We're actually in credit.
Our summers are hot and humid, and our winters are dry. Our current climate makes it very difficult to grow certain produce because things just burn to a crisp before they even have a chance to develop. And we're really struggling with this and losing our patience as well as crops and money. So we decided to install a 3x6 meter greenhouse. This was an enormous undertaking as we managed to do this all on our own. We had to dig the entire foundation out by shovel and then get some cracker dust delivered. We've opted to do that instead of concrete as it is less permanent should we ever decide to change the layout of our garden. We then bought a greenhouse kit online and put that together ourselves. Now, if you've ever built anything with your partner, I think I need say no more. It was a struggle, that is for sure, but we got there in the end and we absolutely love it. So it's currently an oven in here because we've left on the original PVC plastic that came with the greenhouse. So another job for year 2 that's being bumped up as early as possibly this weekend is to change this out into actual shade cloth, and we're going for 30% because most of what we grow still requires full sun, at least that 6 to 8 hours. Something else we need to look at for year 2 is actually get some storage going on in here because at the moment it is an absolute mess. Things are just lying all over the floor and we just kind of don't have any organization, and it's stopping us from using it just a tiny bit. That brings us to the end of our first year. We still need a homestead name, so post your ideas for us down below. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching and sticking with us on our journey. Onwards and upwards from here. We have a lot to get through in year 2, more planting, more building, and hopefully some chicks and eggs. Fingers crossed. If you are a homesteader yourself, please share how you balance the work-home life saga. Subscribe if you haven't to keep me sane on this journey. Thanks for watching.